just thought I would come on here real quick and just record a little update ramble. As I haven't been on to record anything in like over a week or so, I have been traveling a lot on the weekends with my partner, and so I haven't been doing too much RuneScape. I also, in my free time, taking a little break from RuneScape, I have been enjoying some classic games on the Switch, since I have finally pieced my brother's Switch back together, and I took it back to the apartment. And he doesn't really use it much. He's not I don't know, he's not as into games as I am. I just actually played Earthbound for the first time, and that was really excellent. That was a game that I have been putting off playing, but always wanted to ever since I played Chrono Trigger way back in high school, which sparked me to play a lot of the classic JRPGs at that time: Final Fantasy VII, Final Fantasy VI. Chrono Trigger kind of started that. And then my buddy who I played Chrono Trigger alongside went on to Earthbound as I went on to Final Fantasy VII. So I kind of took, the more traditional route. And then when I chilled out of, JRPGs a little later on, I never ended up coming to revisit it. But man, it was excellent. The soundtrack was beautiful. I mean, it was so good. And the script was just so excellent. The English translation was spot on. It was just very comical. I won't talk about too many spoilers, despite the fact that it's a super old game, because I encourage you to play Earthbound, either emulate it or play it on the Switch if you have access to it. And, it really makes me want to play Mother 3, the next game in the series, but that never actually was released was released by Nintendo with an English localization. I don't speak Japanese, so I don't know what to do about that. There is a fan translation that is apparently very good, but I don't know. The original Square and other Nintendo translators from way back when, like, one of the main dudes who did Paper Mario 64, stuff like that, they were professionals. They were, mentored quite a bit in terms of working on the script by the actual companies and the developers themselves, and it's just not something that could have fully come to fruition. A fan translation for Mother 3, in my opinion, but who knows? Maybe it's better than I think. Still probably won't play it, though. It would be great if they could localize it themselves, but Nintendo probably won't. We're gonna pick up these adamant bars. Probably should have buried those, but whatever. So yeah, at the same time that I'm playing, or that I played / finished Earthbound just now, I was also working on Secret of Mana, which is a game I started way back when on the SNES, but never finished. I'm pretty far into it now. I have 4 of the Mana Palaces complete. I just finished the Fire Palace. And I'm also working on the original Paper Mario, as I never got a chance to play that since Nintendo 64 consoles and cartridges are fucking busted now, and after all the market manipulation that's been going on with Pokemon cards in Nintendo games, it's impossible to find cartridges that are reasonably priced anymore. It's totally artificial, and it makes my head spin, so I'm not going to talk about it. Thank God we have access to some of them on virtual consoles and all of them via emulator, so, you know. I mean, if I really wanted to play these games, I would just emulate them as I used to do back in the day, but I enjoy playing on console. It's a different experience, and it's also more akin to how I played a lot of these classic games when I was really young, before emulators were really running anything above PlayStation 1, and even then, when I was young enough that I knew about emulators and knew how to fiddle and play with them, they were not running smoothly. I'll never forget finally getting Dragon Ball Z Budokai 3 to boot on an emulator, but being so disappointed that the computer could not handle it. I didn't understand it at the time until I soon realized that, oh, it's, it's emulating the console, of course, but, I was young. It's funny, he's talking about Guardians of the Rift Points. But yeah, I loved Earthbound. Where exactly would I place it amongst other JRPGs of its time? That's kind of hard. I would say it's definitely in the special category, the S rank. Was it better than Chrono Trigger? Probably not. Great drop here. Excellent. Yeah. Was it better than Chrono Trigger? No, probably not. Also depends on kind of what you're looking for. I think Chrono Trigger overall is just so solid in every category, where Earthbound definitely has certain aspects of it that haven't aged as well in terms of its combat system, despite the fact that I loved its combat. The end game definitely didn't allow you to enjoy the top rungs of your high tier abilities as something like Chrono Trigger did. Chrono Trigger also just had a lot more content. Same thing with Final Fantasy VI. 100%ing those games, it was definitely a lot longer than 100%ing Earthbound. Earthbound didn't really have much optional side, typical JRPG stuff to do. I mean, however, that is, that was Earthbound's intent, right? Was to be different. So it definitely succeeded in that, and as a result, I think it's kind of hard to even compare it to the other ones. I will say, however, one thing that, definitely stands important is, the atmosphere still needs to be there. And again, I'd say Earthbound is definitely in the special rank in terms of atmosphere, just the way the score collides with the visuals and the art. But, obviously, Chrono Trigger, Final Fantasy 6 and 7, kind of go even above and beyond that. And those, in terms of atmosphere, feeling, are definitely kind of toppling Earthbound Scripting, I would say Earthbound definitely competes with the others, except Chrono Trigger's script is kind of slightly better than Final Fantasy 6 and 7. I think Chrono Trigger probably has like the best JRPG script, just because all the dialogue is spot on. The translation issues just aren't as bad as they are in Final Fantasy, stuff like that. And yeah, so, you know, Paper Mario is going to kind of stay in the background as I work on my next large JRPG, since I'm kind of on a kick after Earthbound, and finally playing through Chrono Cross, giving that another shot. Chrono Cross is quite large and sprawling, so, you know, there is a chance we won't fully get into it or finish it, but I'm definitely going to give it more of a shot this time. I know the support definitely has issues, the remaster, but, you know, especially on Switch, but I said fuck it. I you know, gauged my options and I decided to bite the bullet, and if it doesn't work, I'll just emulate it on the computer, like the original PS1 version. I don't care. Whatever. But, you know, it's great to be able to have it on handheld. There's an audio delay on the Switch, where it is most apparent on the Switch. Of course, Square Enix is never gonna have their one unpaid intern working on ports fix this or anything, because they don't do that, because they're really, really shitty with their ports, with the sole exception of the original Final Fantasy VII port on Steam. But the audio delay is not that bad, considering the turn-based system. It's only partially present in the UI, and frankly, some of those old games are so inherently laggy anyways that I've probably played enough games that have some sort of UI audio delay built into it anyways that I don't really seem to notice it too much, and I'm definitely not bothered by it. And I mean, for me, that's definitely big, because you know, I'm an audio nut when it comes to my games, especially RPGs, story-based, mood influencing games. So yeah, take it from me, it's not that bad. I'm sure the lag is pretty bad, but the game is laggy anyways. Not that I want it to be more laggy, but unless I'm really only working with like a couple frames per second during maybe some special abilities, I think it'll be fine. And I also don't like the remastered UI anyways. I don't like any fucking remastered UI of any game. I think they're all really ugly. They all look like asset flips, frankly. And the original UIs from the PS1 SNES era reign supreme, and I don't know why we don't port more of that. A part of me honestly believes that remastered UIs kind of are an asset flip, and that is why we don't do that, because it would require actual coding to re-implement smoother versions of the original UIs, because they had to spend more attention to detail and code back in the day anyways, because they didn't have cleaner engines for graphics and whatnot. But whatever. That is why I'm so satisfied, of course, with the original Final Fantasy VII port, because it adheres to the original UI in every sense of the word. And it is not surprising that Final Fantasy VII's port would come out looking so original, because they probably know they would be gouged if they had their one unpaid intern working on it, as they do for most of their ports. I'm sorry, I'm like ranting about Square Enix while talking about this in their ports, but oh man, it really does kind of bother me so much that emulation is so much more precise, and that's just a totally open source thing. I mean, come on, guys. You own all these IPs. You can make them good too, believe it or not. I know you don't play them anymore, but you know, think of your founders who loved and played the games that they made. You know, that they themselves made, I mean. But again, I kind of, you know, I digress from that. And yeah, super excited for Chrono Cross. You know, I've taken the time to delve a little bit deeper into how the combat system works, because of course it is a notoriously more complex, especially because it's in contrast of the first game in the series, which was Chrono Trigger, which is exceedingly simple as far as gameplay and stuff goes. Chrono Trigger is also a rather easy game as far as JRPGs from that era goes, especially Final Fantasy VI is much more difficult than Chrono Trigger. Final Fantasy VI was pretty brutal, which is funny because I'm pretty sure the difficulty is reduced on English versions across the board until a bit later on anyways. And Earthbound definitely actually had a good flavor of difficulty. I quite enjoyed that, actually. I forgot to mention that. The difficulty was pretty nice. Obviously, Final Fantasy VII is not difficult at all, and that's a shame, but there are ways to make the game difficult, if you so choose. We're just going to drop those there. Alright, let's see what our next task is, and I'll probably wrap this video up. Final Fantasy VII on the Steam also has mods, like the new threat mod, which I played an older version, which I'm not sure if it still exists. That was slightly harder than the current version, which is out, but either way, they're both great ways to experience the game in a very balanced difficulty. And I couldn't recommend the new threat mod more. The hardcore mod is different. That's more of a masochistic approach. I actually did attempt, but didn't get too far in a playthrough of Final Fantasy VII. I believe it was the Necrophos or Necro something mod, where you start off with max stats, or not max stats, max HP and mana, and you are unable to heal at any point in the game. No workarounds whatsoever. No loopholes. So, you know, you do the whole game on one health bar, one mana bar. I thought that was pretty awesome. Again, I didn't get too far into it because I got just far enough that I realized, you know, this isn't gonna cut it. I'd have to restart. So, I didn't end up restarting. I love it as it is. Maybe I will do that one day. Maybe that'd be a pretty decent ASMR series, actually. If I could ever muster up the courage to try it again. It's very interesting. Maybe in saying that I will look into it to see if the mod has had any updates or anything. Make sure it still even exists. Okay, y'all. I'm gonna leave this video here. I'm not gonna do these Abyssal Demons now. I'm gonna get back to Chrono Cross and chill out, probably eat something. So yeah, take care. Hope you enjoyed this little ramble/rant. I think I got some thunder, so it's a good time anyways.